Welcome to Fake Love and Flying Monkeys, the podcast where fake love is exposed. I'm Nova Gibson and I am your host. I'm the principal counsellor at Brighter Outlook Narcissistic Abuse Counselling.com.au. This space is dedicated to helping you reclaim your worth and understand the impact of toxic relationships with suspected narcissists. You deserve clarity, healing, and freedom from the pain of fake love and flying monkeys. So please leave a review and grab a copy of my book, Fake Love, Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse. Let's uncover the truth and take back your power. Hey everyone, it's Nova here and welcome back to another episode of Fake Love and Flying Monkeys. In this episode, we are going to be talking about the female narcissist, who I sometimes compare to a black widow spider. So if you've ever seen how a black widow operates, she lures her prey in, she spins her web, and once she's trapped her victim, she drains them. And it's a really powerful metaphor, I think, for how the female narcissist relates to her partner. Now, just for ease of explaining in this episode, we're going to be talking about the female narcissist, the black widow, with her male partner. Now, what makes the black widow or the female narcissist particularly destructive is the way she tears down her male victim, the way she emasculates him by chipping away at his masculinity, his entire identity, his confidence, until he barely recognizes himself. Let's talk about how she does this, why she does this, and what it does to her male victim. Well, of course, it all begins with the love bombing, the seduction phase, or with her setting the web up. She doesn't just start with the venom. No, she starts with that allure. She might even be really flirtatious, attentive, and even play into those kind of traditional femininity roles to make him feel admired and needed. He thinks he's found someone who values him and someone who sees him as this strong and capable and desirable man. He thinks he's found a woman who sees him as someone who is masculine, but he's about to find out that she is going to destroy every ounce of masculinity that he possesses. Yes, that love bombing stage, that's just the web being spun. Every bit of charm is an investment in her future control. So why emasculation? Why does she go after his masculinity? Why go straight for his identity as a man? Well, because it's one of the fastest ways to weaken him. Many men tie their entire worth to those societal stereotypes that they must be the protector, the provider, someone who can handle things. They're supposed to be the strong ones. And if she can undermine that, she destabilizes him. And when he's unsure of himself, he is much easier to control, and that's the end goal. Okay, so let me give you a couple of examples. I once worked with a client, let's call him James. And by the way, guys, don't forget, if you'd like to have a one-on-one Zoom counseling session with me, no matter where you are in the world, please just see my website link in the description. Okay, back to James. On the outside, James looked like he had it all together. He was this successful guy. He had a successful career. He was a good father and he was funny. He had a great sense of humor. But in his marriage, his wife constantly undermined him. If he fixed something around the house, she'd say something like, well, I suppose it will do until I can get someone proper to look at it. Or when they were out with friends, she'd casually throw in comments like, oh, James could never manage the bills. I have to take care of all of that. Individually, each comment sounded small, almost like a joke. But over the years, James lost all of his confidence because it was constant, it was consistent, and it eroded away at his entire sense of self. He stopped volunteering to do things. He'd freeze in the end when friends asked him questions. He was terrified in the end of saying the wrong thing in case she mocked him. And he described feeling like an absolute shell of the man he used to be. And that, guys, is emasculation in action. It's like death by 1,000 paper cuts. Another client who came to see me, who I'm going to call Daniel. Daniel told me how his partner would use sex as a weapon. Female narcissists love to use their sexual prowess. They instinctually know or believe that men love sex and they will use it to hook them in. But once they're attached, they flip it. And it's then that the female narcissist, the black widow, can start to use it as a reward or a punishment. She'll withhold it. She'll criticize and she'll compare his prowess, and she will use intimacy as this bargaining chip. And when he does what she wants, she'll reward him with it or punish him by withdrawing it when he fails to please her. And guys, it's not about intimacy or closeness. It's about domination. It's about control. And this was a strategy that was used to manipulate Daniel by his abuser. If he upset her in the slightest way, she would cut him off, sometimes for weeks. But if he jumped through all of those hoops she gave him, she'd suddenly become affectionate again. She also loved to mock him in really deeply personal ways, like during arguments, she'd say things like, "You're not even a real man," or "No wonder your ex left you." And these words crushed him. It got to the point where Daniel started to avoid intimacy altogether because he was so anxious that he wouldn't be able to perform. He was so full of anxiety about being rejected or ridiculed. And then she'd use that avoidance against him. She would say that he was cold, unloving. He was just not good enough. It was a no-win situation for him, and that's exactly how the female narcissist designs it. Okay, let's take a look at that Black Widow parallel. Well, like the Black Widow spider, she lures him in with that charm she oozes, and then she consumes him emotionally, mentally, even physically. He serves a purpose for her. Ego supply, financial support, perhaps, sexual control, and then he's discarded, drained of all his confidence and, of course, his identity. Victims of this type of abuse often describe feeling ashamed, silenced. They stop trusting themselves. Many of them start to withdraw socially because they feel so embarrassed, humiliated. And let's be honest, guys, society is not always kind to male victims of female narcissists. Those stereotypes scream at us that women are the only ones who can be the victims. Men will often hear things like, "How can a woman abuse a man?" And that disbelief keeps them quiet. But the reality is that emasculation is psychological abuse. It's deliberate. It's very damaging, and it is designed to control. Now, something I really wanted to touch on here is how hidden emasculation can be. Because when people hear that word emasculation, they think of really obvious insults like outright saying, "You're not a man." But the female narcissist often prefers the sneaky version. She might say things like, "Well, you tried," or "I guess it's cute that you thought you could do that." On the surface, it doesn't sound like much, but in the tone, in the delivery, there's this constant undercurrent of "you're not enough." It's like water dripping on a stone. You don't notice it at first, but over time, it carves out this deeper groove. And that is what she's doing to him. She's carving away at his sense of self. Another favorite tool of the Black Widow narcissist is comparison. She might casually mention how her friend's husband makes more money, or how her ex was more romantic, or how a co-worker is such a real man. He looks after his wife and children so well. And of course, she pretends it's just an observation. But it's a deliberate dig. It's intentional, because nothing destabilizes someone more than being compared unfavorably to someone else. It puts her victim in this permanent state of trying harder to prove himself, chasing her approval all the time. And she loves that. That is supply. She will never let him win, and I mean that literally. Even if he does what she's asked of him, even if he changes himself to meet all of her demands, she will move the goalposts. If he starts making more money, suddenly she complains that he's never home. If he tries to be more affectionate, she'll say, "Ugh, you're too needy." If he stays quiet to avoid arguments, she'll call him weak. It's this constant no-win scenario, and that's exactly how she keeps him off balance, because when he is always scrambling to keep up, he's not in a position to challenge her or to leave. Now, let's also talk about the role of outsiders here, the family and the friends as an audience. The female narcissist doesn't just emasculate behind closed doors. Oh, no. She loves an audience. She might make jokes about him at a dinner party. She'll roll her eyes when he speaks in front of family, or she'll tell the kids, "Don't ask Dad, he'll just mess it up." And that public performance, that cuts even deeper, because not only does he feel belittled, but he also feels powerless to defend himself. If he reacts, she'll accuse him of being angry, controlling, or unable to take a joke. So the male victim ends up swallowing all of her BS, and that silence, that becomes another layer of emasculation. And what's so heartbreaking in these toxic relationships is that many men know something is wrong. Deep down, they feel it, but they just don't have the language for it. They think, maybe I'm just not good enough, or maybe she deserves better. And because society often minimizes male victims of emotional abuse, they don't feel safe talking about it. They fear people will laugh at them or say, "How could a woman tear you down?" And that silence, that keeps them trapped. I remember this one client saying to me, "Nova, I feel like I've lost my voice." And that really hit me, because that's exactly what emasculation does. It silences men. It convinces them that nothing they say or do will ever measure up. So they stop trying. And that is when the Black Widow narcissist has them completely tangled in her web. She doesn't even need to humiliate them anymore because she's got them doing it to themselves. So if you're listening to this episode, guys, and any of this is ringing true, I want to tell you something really important. Emasculation is a tactic. It's not a reflection of your worth. It is not proof that you're failing as a man. It's proof that she needs to control you to feel powerful. When you start to see it for what it is, when you realize that the Black Widow has been spinning this sticky web around you, that is when you can start to loosen the threads. And yes, it's hard. And yes, it's messy. But I've seen men rebuild. I've helped many men to rebuild their lives in my counseling practice. I've seen them step out of that web and rediscover their voice, their confidence, and their sense of self. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. And that brings us to the end of another Fake Love and Flying Monkeys episode. What a powerful metaphor, the old Black Widow spider. It just fits. The spider lures her victim in, makes him believe he's found his match, and then ultimately consumes him. Now, if you are a man listening to this episode, or of course a woman in their own narcissistic abuse, recovery, healing journey, and you would like some support, please just see my website link in the description. As a professional counselor, I would love to be able to support you online, one-on-one. You'll also find a link there to order your copy of my best-selling book, Fake Love. Now, if you would like to support the channel, guys, as always, all I ask is for you to share, and to leave a rating and a review. You have no idea how much that helps the channel. On that note, guys, it's bye from me for now. Until tomorrow's episode, remember, you are worthy of love, and you are worthy of so much more than a lifetime of fake love and flying monkeys.